Alright, what is going on, guys? So let me start the video by saying thank you so much for 300 subscribers. It honestly means so much to me that y'all are willing to stick around and watch my videos and actually care about what I have to say. Because I love these games, I love the From Software games, and it's so much fun to get to share my love of these games with you guys. And so speaking of games that I love, today I want to count down my top 5 games of all time. Now, this is not an objective list, this is purely 100% my opinion. So feel free to disagree and let me know what your top 5 games of all time are down in the comments, and with that, let's get into the list. Alright, so coming in at number 5 as my 5th favorite game of all time is Pokémon XD Gale of Darkness. So if you've stuck around my channel for a long time, then you know that before I started making Dark Souls videos, I was making Pokemon videos. And this is by far my favorite Pokemon game. When I think about games that define my childhood, this is probably like number 1 on that list. I got a GameCube when I was around 6 or 7 years old, and this was one of the first games I got on there, and this was honestly one of my first introductions to video games as a whole. And so for that reason, nostalgia plays a big part as to why I love this game so much. But honestly, this game is an easy 10 out of 10, and for a lot of reasons. So when you think about Pokemon games, you probably think about all the mainline games on like the Game Boy and the DS and now the Switch. So this game was actually a spin-off from the mainline, and so not a lot of people actually know about it or have played it. And in my opinion, this game actually does a lot of things better than the mainline games. So let me highlight a few of those things real quick. So when Pokemon Sword and Shield released last year and they came out and it was the first mainline 3D Pokemon game, a lot of people had the complaint that the Pokemon just seemed lifeless and stagnant. Well, in XD, they are very much lively. As you can tell from the gameplay, they react to all the attacks, they have different animations for different types of attacks, and they just seem so alive and so full of, like, expression. It really makes you feel like they're living creatures and that you should care about them. And also, the music in this game was just so good, like, listen to this. Music like that just gives the game so much life, and it makes the battles so much fun. And you can hear how when a new Pokemon is thrown out, the crowd just erupts, and it's just so full of character. This whole game is like this. And so for me, Pokemon XD is number 5 on my list. Okay, so coming in at number 4 is a game that needs no introduction. You all know this game, it's Sekiro. When Sekiro first released a couple years ago, playing through it for the first time blind was one of the best experiences I've ever had in gaming. Now y'all already know how much I love FromSoft games, so playing through a game like this with their style, with such a new and refreshing combat system that was so engaging and so satisfying to play, was so much fun. And the story and the world of this game had me so engaged, and I found myself just constantly wanting to learn more about the world and wanting to delve into the lore of the game. And of course this game does everything right that FromSoft games are supposed to do. We have the challenging boss fights that are extremely satisfying to beat. It's full of characters that have these quirky personality traits that are very kind of offsetting and that are very much products of the worlds that they live in. And I've already made a video over what makes Sekiro so special, but to just recap that a little bit, Sekiro puts you on this journey of Wolf, and it takes you through this journey of him relearning everything he knew about being a great shinobi. And the game does an amazing job of doing that environmental storytelling that really reflects the journey that you're going on at the same time. And I found that as being so beautiful and so engaging. But I think the combat system is by far the best aspect of this game. Like sometimes I'll just hop on to go fight a boss that I've already beaten just to be playing that combat system, and this is why I really hope we get some DLC for the game or Sekiro 2, because it kind of left off at a cliffhanger and I really hope they continue that. But that's going to do it for number 4. Let's move on to number 3. Coming in at number 3 is the best open world game of all time, Skyrim. And I mean, when this game came out, it was so revolutionary for open world games. I believe it was the biggest open world we'd ever had at this point. But don't quote me on that because I'm not too sure. But this game really did something special for me. I had never played a game that gave you this much freedom and this much to explore and learn about in the world. There was just so much content in this game, like I really don't think I ever actually beat the main story until like 4 years after I got the game. And when a game can keep you satisfied just running around and doing side quests for 4 years, you know you've got something special on your hands. Now what I really loved about this game was just how immersive it is. I had never really played a game before this that completely sucked me into the world near as much as Skyrim did, and there's a lot of factors as to what did that for me. For me personally, it was a combination of how beautiful the world was with like the giant mountains, the clear blue skies, and the colorful foliage and vegetation everywhere. But there was one thing that really stood out to me, and that was the music. The music in this game was just beautiful. When a game has a really strong soundtrack, that gives it a lot of points in my book. And so when I was running around during the nighttime in Skyrim, having the planets above my head and like the galaxy, you could see all that like cosmic stuff, and then having that really beautiful soundtrack playing in the background, dude, I got sucked in so much to this game. But I really loved this game. But there's still 2 more that I liked even more than this, and we're gonna get into number 2 right now. So obviously I had to put this game on my list because it is what inspired me to make this channel, and that's Dark Souls. So if you want to hear me go really in depth about why I love this game so much, go check out my video, How I Fell in Love with Dark Souls. And in that one I really go in depth about what makes this game so special in my book and the factors that caused me to really love it that much. But there are a few games out there that I can really call masterpieces, and Dark Souls is definitely a masterpiece. And that's objective too, because I really think this game does more than any other game that I've ever played in the aspect of making it more of an art form than a video game. Because I really believe Dark Souls is an artwork more than a video game. But there were several things that really stood out to me about this game that caused me to love it so much. The main thing are the boss fights. They're so much fun and they're so rewarding and satisfying to beat, but they're also so much of a challenge. But that challenge is what makes them so much fun. But one of the main things I really love about this game is how the story is very indirect, and it's told through the environment and the lore and the item descriptions and all that you have to actively like be searching for to figure out, otherwise it's going to seem like a mystery. And I know that's not everybody's cup of tea, but I really love that stuff. And you'll see that be reflected in my number 1 pick, which is coming up in just a minute. But the dark fantasy setting is also one of my favorites in all of like video games and literature and movies. I love dark fantasy. And this game also caused me to start reading Berserk, and I really fell in love with that series, which you can see why. But I'm gonna go ahead and lump in Dark Souls 2 and 3 into this one spot because I don't want to have that jumble up my top 5, because if I put all the FromSoft games in here, they would be the majority of the list. But anyway, here's the number 1 pick. Coming in at my number 1 spot and my favorite game of all time is Metroid Prime 2 Echoes. This game absolutely changed my life after I played it. I got this game at a very young age when I was very impressionable, and so things like this really left an impact on me. And if you've played Metroid games, you know that like Dark Souls, Metroid is pretty notorious for being pretty hard, especially the older ones, but for a little 8-year-old like me, and this being my first adventure game, I felt completely unable to do anything in this game. Metroid games are very reliant on puzzles and environmental storytelling like Dark Souls, and so when I started playing this, I felt like I literally could not get through the game. It took me years and years to finally beat it. And while that would have made a lot of people stop playing, it made this game seem like an obstacle in my life that I absolutely had to get over, or I could not do anything else. But aside from that, this was also a point in my life where I was a big Star Wars fan, and so the sci-fi setting really sucked me in. And I thought it was really cool to get to explore an alien planet like this, in a world where everything is out to get you, and it's just a complete feeling of isolation. But there were also a lot of things about this game that I really loved too, like the combat was a lot of fun, like strafing around the room, jumping up really high, and doing this like 3D shooter combat. I really loved that. And all the while in this game, when you're exploring these alien planets, you've got this like funky background music going on, and it's so nice to listen to, and it really makes the game kind of feel like it has a rhythm to it, and that really immersed me in the setting. Take a listen to this. And so the whole time you're playing this game, you've just got this like beat playing behind you, and your gun swaying to the beat. Everything just is so on point, and it's amazing to play. And as I was referencing earlier when I was talking about Dark Souls, this game does not have a direct story either. The story is told through the items that you can scan with your scan visor, and through the logs you can load in your notebook as you explore the world. And so if you want to learn more parallels about this game and Dark Souls and why I like them so much, go check out my Why I Love Dark Souls So Much video. But anyway, that's gonna about do it for the video, guys. Once again, thank you so much for 300 subscribers, and I hope we can keep on growing. But if you guys did enjoy, be sure to leave a like on the video, and I'll catch you in the next one.
I let her test drive out in the west side. She get my best side. Girl, I know you see it coming on your timeline. You're just like fine wine, hit on my line. Girl, I know you see it coming, yeah.